Hey, welcome to 3.5a. We got our standard lesson today. We'll start off with a review. We've got the video with the pause problems and ticket of the show. 1 through 6 will be our guided problems, and then down here you'll do 12 problems on your own for independent study. For your independent practice. When we're doing these problems today, the expectation is that you will use this graphic organizer as you do them. You'll see me using it throughout the video, etc. So I just want to point that out right up front. So your homework, when you do your independent ones, I should see 12 of these on your paper. All right, let's take a look at the review. Here we go. We'll go ahead and take maximum 5 minutes, pause the video, and work on these. All right. One-step equation here. This is a multiplication equation, so you can divide by 14, divide by 14. M equals 4. Notice that this didn't say 14m. I just said m times 14. Same thing, but we can handle it in this fashion here. This one here, you divide it out, you're going to have 23. Let's take a look at these problems here. These expressions. 7 times the difference between a number and 10. There it is. 7 times the difference between a number and 10 equals 70. The difference between number p and 4. So there's the difference. P and 4. You didn't need a parentheses there. I mean, you could put them if you wanted, but they're not necessary because there's nothing else going on. A number divided by 3 is 15. Here's that n divided by 3 is 15. You could also make it as a fraction. N fraction bar 3 equals 15. And 7 times the number q, 7 times the sum of a number q and 4. There's the sum of the number q and 4 times 7 equals 39er. All right. Sounds good. Let's get rolling here. You are off to your video, and I will see you when you're done. Hey Valley Middle, welcome back to another math video. Tonight we're going to be solving two-step equations. These are kind of fun, but they can be challenging. Let's start off with our just for fun trivia question. From the book of Crazy Records, what is the world's longest pizza? This one's kind of fun. All right, tonight officially our target is I can solve two-step equations using inverse operations. Let's do this thing. Tara had some extra king-size candy bars left over from Halloween. She divided them equally amongst the 4 members of the quad. That's a group of her friends. She then gave each member 10 additional pieces of small candy that was left over. Each quad member ended up with 13 pieces of candy. How many candy bars did she start with? Well, you could probably figure it out, but I'm using simple numbers here to help illustrate how we could write an equation for this. Well, she started off with some candy bars and she divided them among 4 people. And then she gave each person 10 additional pieces of candy, so they all ended up with 13. Now that wasn't that difficult, all right, was it? No, we've been spending time writing them. We've been spending time solving equations like this, and then equations that just said c plus 10. But this now is a two-step equation. So we have to take a slightly different process in doing this. Conventional wisdom would say, well, you have to do multiplication or division first. But in this case, we are going to be actually adding or subtracting first. So let's take a look at the work. We got to get rid of the 10 on this side in the process of isolating this variable. So we subtract 10 from both sides. These 10s cross off. You end up with c divided by 4 equals 13 minus 10, which is 3. Then you got to get rid of the 4 down here in the denominator. So the way to get rid of divided by 4 is we multiply by 4. But you have to do it on both sides. Balance that equation out. These guys just cross off and you have 3 times 4, which is 12. So you get c equals 12. And you can pop it in and see if it works. 12 candy bars divided amongst 4 people would be 3. Plus 10 little pieces of candy, total of 13 pieces of candy. See what I mean by some real math? Yeah, we're going to use the railroad tracks, and it's kind of this framework tonight as we do this. Your brothers and sisters, if they're in high school or upper middle school, they'll look at it and go, oh, you're doing equations. They'll know exactly what you're doing. All right, some must-know words. First of all, one-step equation, that's what we've been doing. These are where you isolate the variable in one operation, like c plus 10, c minus 10, 10c, etc. So these are examples of multiplication equations. 3x equals 12. Here's the division equation. X divided by 4 equals 3. Sorry, division equation, yes. Addition equation, 2 plus x equals 3. And the subtraction equation. x minus 2 equals 1. So all of these equations are named for whatever operation they are. Now, with two-step operations, equations, we're going to have to isolate the variable, and it takes two operations. And for us, we're going to be adding or subtracting first and then multiplying or dividing. So here's the two-step equation. We've got some addition and multiplication. Here, we got addition and division. So, what does this picture here have to do with anything? I can't put my arms down. Yeah, it's from the Christmas story. They run it all day on Christmas. What does it have to do with anything? It might be random. But wait, he appears on this page too. Order matters. That's what the point of the picture is. When this kid got dressed, he put on his suit and then he put on his boots, right? Plus all the other junk. But when getting undressed, he has to take his boots off before he takes his suit off, right? So you have to change the order a little bit. So order matters in these problems as well. When you look at this equation here, we've got addition and multiplication. How we do this or solve this, the order matters. Let's just take and say, hey, we're going to get rid of this divided by 3 first, and let's see if it works. Oops, where's my... There it is. Okay, so first of all, we would divide by 3 on both sides, and that would leave us, well, divide by 3 over here, 14 divided by 3. These guys cross off. This gets a little bit messy, but you have 4 2/3. If things get messy, for our lesson here, you probably did the wrong thing first. I'm going to keep it to whole numbers. But what we end up with is x plus 2 equals 4 2/3. If you do this on the calculator, you're going to get 4.6666 repeating, which is 4 2/3. So then if we subtract the 2 from both sides, we have isolated the variable. 4 2/3 minus 2 is 2 2/3. But if you pop that into the calculator, you don't get 14. You get like 10. That ain't going to happen. Order matters. We have to add or subtract first and then multiply or divide. Check this out. When we subtract 2 first, these cross off. Now you've got 3x equals 12. You divide by 3 on both sides. Here's the divide by 3, divide by 3. Now you get x is 4. And this one here actually does work. If I can find the answer, I guess we're going to do this. There it is. 3 times 4, 12 plus 2 is 14. What did you learn from this ridiculous connection with Christmas Story and a kid in a snowsuit? Order matters. If you put your suit on and then your boots, when you get undressed, you got to take your boots off first. We are undoing this equation. And so we're going to undo it. We'll have to kind of reverse the order of operations and get rid of the addition or subtraction before we deal with multiplication and division. All right. Let's take a look at a couple, and then I'll have you try some. 6y plus 2 equals 26. What will be our first operation here? What do you think? How about the second? Well, first, we've got to get rid of the 2, and then we've got to get rid of the 6y. So we're going to do subtraction first, and then we'll have to divide to get rid of that. So I subtracted 2. Oops, my thing slid over. Sorry about that. I subtracted 2 and subtracted 2. Now we're just left with 6y equals 24. Now we have to divide this side by 6 and this side by 6. Again, 6 divided by 6 is just 1y, or just plain y. 24 divided by 6 is 4. Check our answer, see if it makes sense. Just popping this 4 in place of the y. 6 times 4 is 24, plus 2, 26. Slam bam, thank you, ma'am. All right, time for you to try one. Solve this two-step equation. Think about, what will your first operation be? What will your second operation be? How do you undo that? Order matters. Okay, we're going to have to subtract first, and then you're going to have to divide to get rid of this multiplication. So I subtract 4 from both sides. I've got 3h equals 36. Divide by 3 on both sides. The 3's cross off because 3 divided by 3 is just 1, or just plain h. 36 divided by 3 is 12. You certainly can use a calculator on these as well. See if it checks out. 3 times 12, 36, plus 4, 40. Great. That wasn't so bad, was it? All right. Now these ones here get a little scary, these division problems, but let's go ahead and take a look at it. So what's going to be the first step, second step? Well, now we got division, so that's scary. But we're going to first have to get rid of this 3. So we're going to subtract 3. And then how do you get rid of division? Well, what's the opposite of division? What's the inverse operation? Multiplication. So then we're going to multiply. So we'll subtract and then multiply. Let's do this thing. It's right here. Here we go. So we're going to subtract 3 from both sides. These 3 cross off. Sorry, I don't know where my thing is, so I will just make one. It's kind of big, but it'll work. And then when we subtract, we're going to have 5 minus 3 is 2. So now we have z divided by 4 equals 2. How do you get rid of divided by 4? Again, we're always on this side trying to isolate the variable. We're going to multiply by 4. We've got multiply by 4 and divided by 4. These will cross off because this is really just 4 over 1. So the 4's cross off. And you're left with z, or 1z. That's isolated. 2 times 4 is 8. Let's pop it in and see if it works. 8 divided by 4 is 2. Plus 3 is 5. You ready to try division 1? All right, go ahead. Think about it. What's your plan? What's the first step? What's the second step? Go ahead. All right, got to get rid of the minus 10 first. Get rid of minus 10 using the inverse operation. You add 10. So now you have m divided by 4 equals 22. How do you get rid of divided by 4? You multiply by 4, just like in the last problem. So the 4's are going to cross off. You still have to multiply on this side 22 times 4, and you get 88. Check out your answer. 88, that will be right up here with m. 88 divided by 4 is 22. Minus 10 is not 22. Minus 10 is 12. Sorry about the typo. All right. Very good. You are ready for your ticket to the show problems. Go ahead. Copy those down. Okie dokie. Let's take a look at this crazy record. What is the world's longest pizza? I was stunned by the length of it. The old record was 600, set in Italy. This pizza that these guys are making here, they did it, let's just scroll down here, see if I can't see it. Guess I got to put myself up here. Entered in the Guinness Book of World Records, 1.32 miles. Now, if you think about being at Valley Middle School, 1.32 miles would be probably like walking from Valley Middle School all the way to Apple Valley Target. Maybe a little farther than that, or like walking from Valley Middle School to Byerly's in Burnsville. It is a long way. So they did it with a combination of pizza oven makers and bakers, and they shattered it. The 600-foot record. So this was in 2017. Wonder what they did with all the pizza. Think about that. That would be a lot of pizza to feed people. Hopefully they didn't waste it. All right, thanks so much for listening. Have a great day. All right, welcome back. Hopefully you got your pause problems ticket to the show done. Here's a problem from the video. You take you through it step by step. You'll need to write the problem down. You'll need to use the graphic organizer. If you're going to use the worksheet today and work from that, you can just write below it. You can skip this first step. In this equation, we've got addition and multiplication. So to undo that, we're going to first have to subtract and then divide. Subtract the 2 from both sides. We end up with 6y equals 24. Then we have to divide by 6 on both sides. Y equals 4. We can pop the answer in there. 6 times 4 is 24. Plus 2 is 26. Okay, here you can see I've already set these 2 problems up to take you through a guided problem here. And you'll see that I've got the framework already put in. Make sure you leave enough room so that yours works neatly. If you want to put it in as you go, you can do that, or you can draw it ahead like I did. I like drawing it out ahead, make it a little bigger, just so it reminds me where I'm supposed to put everything. All right, in this equation here, we have multiplication and addition, so we're going to have to first subtract 1 from both sides, and we end up with 15 equals 3y. Now we can divide by 3 on both sides, and we can isolate that down to be y equals 5, or 5 equals y. Let's just pop it in. 3 times 5 is 15, plus 1 is 16. Good. All right, same type of equation here. We have multiplication and then addition. This is kind of your standard easy one to start with. Get rid of this guy first. We're going to subtract and then divide again. Subtract the 1 from both sides, and you end up with 3x equals 9. Now we're going to divide by 3 on both sides. We've isolated down to x equals 3. Pop it in. 3 times 3 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. All right, try this 4 blocker on your own. This is part of your 6 guided. You have those 2 that I did. And then these ones here. I'll let you go ahead and take a look at those. Okay, here are your answers. Subtract 15 and then divide by 2. You're going to get p equals 2. Make sure your work looks like this. That's probably more important than the answer, quite honestly. Plug the answer in and make sure it works. 15 plus 2 times 2, well, that's 4. 15 plus 4 is 19. Good. Here we have to subtract 16 and then divide by 3. We got 11 as our answer, so pop it in. 3 times 11 is 33. Plus 16 is 49. Here we have to subtract 18 and then divide by 12. So here's the 18. Sorry, we have to add 18 and then divide by 12. So we added 18. Now we've got 48. Divide both sides by 12. You've got 4 equals z. Pop it in. 12 times 4 is 48. Minus 18 is 30. Slide myself over here. And we've got this problem right here where we are going to subtract 7. Subtract 7. We've got 4g equals 16, then we divide by 4 on both sides. Well, that worked out just lovely. Now we've got g equals 4. Perfecto. Pop it in. 4 times 4 is 16, plus 7 is 23. All right. Here are the problems I'll have you do. You can make them just a little bit bigger for you. I think I can get them on there. There we go. You can see these. I'll put myself in the middle for a second. You can see how I struggle making my lines stay perfect on these videos. For some reason they always want to fall off on the PDFs and get moved around, so I just put a new set in there. Go ahead and you could work the problem right here if you have room, otherwise you can put it in your notebook. I don't care as long as you have 10 of them, just the first 10. The negative numbers start at 11, and things get a little quirky there. So I know I said in the opening, I said it was 1 through 10, or it was 1 through 12, but I've changed it to 1 through 12. And there's an early finishers challenge as well. So go ahead and work those however you want. If you want to put it into Notability and work it, that's fine, however you want to. That back to those 10. All right, and the early finisher challenge. A couple of word problems. We'll be looking at these tomorrow in a Schoology activity. Again, this is optional. Early finishers challenge. All right, read these problems. See if you can come up with a equation for both and an answer for both. Okay, here's my work. It's $22 per hour, plus 500 was 1204. We subtracted 500. Then you divide by 22. You get h equals 32, or 32 hours. This one here. Slide myself over. It's 0.19 plus 5.95 is 1583. Subtract 5.95. Divide by 0.19. I forgot to cross that one off. Sorry about that. I'll do it quick. That's my expectation that you guys do it as well. And then p equals 52, or 52 pictures. All right.